Hi everyone, welcome to SMI Hub Canada. If you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe, click the notification bell, whatever, if you enjoyed the video. Okay, so today I'll be talking about how to work in Canada, and I'm going to be breaking down all the possible pathways to working in Canada. I know some of you are not interested in studying, you're just not in that space, you want to work. I know. I have you covered in this video, just stay tuned. Okay, so there are three possible pathways to working in Canada. It's either you work as a student, you work on an open work permit, or you work on a closed work permit. Those are the only three ways, or else you become a permanent resident. And I know that you're watching this video because you're considering how to work, in order to become a PR. So those are the only three possible pathways. So the first one is working as a student. And I've done a video at this time. I might have posted it before or after, whatever, but I will link it in the description box on how to work as a student in Canada. Okay, so working as a student, you can only work 20 hours. Only work 20 hours at a time. So that might not be a sufficient time slot for you to use for permanent residency. And another thing is, as a student, the work you do on a study permit cannot be counted as Canadian work experience. So for you guys that want to join the CEC class, that's a Canadian experience class, it's not going to count for you. That's something to think about. Although you can use that work for international work experience. So because you're working on a study permit, CIC is just going to count it as an international work experience, just like a work experience you have outside of Canada. So it can count, especially if you want to, at least you want to meet the minimum requirement for maybe federal skilled worker, where you need at least 1 year anywhere. Okay, so you can use that work on a study permit. So that's the first pathway. This is important for those, as I said, that need to meet the minimum requirement. I have done a video on how to work unlimited as a student. So you can work so many hours as a student and then use that for at least your minimum requirement. I'm going to move to the next one, and that's open work permit. So two types of people can get an open work permit. The first is the spouse of a student. And I have done videos on that, how to bring your spouse to Canada on a work permit. I will link it in the description box as well. So that is a very, very wonderful pathway, because you don't have to go through the hassles of trying to find an employer before you come. So your work permit is not dependent on any employer. You can come here and work for any employer. I will talk about that shortly, but you can work anywhere, right? Without work permit, you are not tied to an employer. So if your spouse is the type that likes to study, you can why don't you try to apply, get admission for the spouse. And the good thing is that it doesn't matter where the spouse studies. So your spouse can study in a college, study in a university, as long as it's post-secondary education and it's in a school that has DLI. So you have to be sure that the school you're applying to, has a DLI, designated learning identification or something. So once they have that, then you are eligible to apply for an open work permit once your spouse gets his or her study permit. So that's a pathway to look into. So many people have been able to come. I came here as a student. My husband came as a worker, foreign worker, and from there many people have gotten their permanent residency while the spouse is even still a student. It's very, very possible. So look into that. Okay. Another person that can apply for an open work permit is a spouse of a permanent resident. So if your spouse is a PR, or if your spouse is a Canadian citizen, if your spouse is a PR, you can apply for an open work permit instantly to go and meet your spouse while still applying for your permanent residency. So while your spouse is sponsoring you for your PR, you can apply for an interim open work permit that you can use to work and stay with your spouse while they're processing the application. If you are also the spouse of a citizen, the same thing applies. So this is the other pathway. So whatever you want to make out of that information is for you. For you guys on an open work permit, you want to make sure you check your permit when you get it from the border officer, and be sure that because it's going to indicate employer unknown. If it says employer unknown, it means you can work for anyone, and that's the case with open work permits, right? So for a closed work permit, to say employer and write the name of the employer that sponsored you. That's why it's closed, like only strictly based on that employer. Now, for you guys on open work permit, you also want to check the location on your permit. So if you're for location, if it says open, it means you can work anywhere, or unknown or something of that sort. But for the location, there are times that when they issue work permit, open work permit, they issue it based on the city of the student, so where the student is going to study. So for instance, if you're studying in Toronto, be sure and check that the permit of your spouse does not have Toronto on it, because if it does have Toronto, it means that all the jobs that your spouse can apply for has to be within Toronto. And this can be a disadvantage if you want a job, if you have a job that needs you to move from place to place. So in our case, when we came here, we didn't even check that, we didn't know. So when my husband applied, he got a job. Fortunately, it was all within the town. But then when our permit, because they gave us 1 year when we first got here, so we had to extend it after 1 year. So we applied for extension, and then during that period, he had to change jobs. He got a new job, a better job. And the HR asked if he was allowed to work out, or because the HR, they know all these things, and these things, they take it seriously. So he asked, and we're like, of course. They said, be sure, go and check the permit. And then we checked the permit, the new one, and we saw that it was open, right? Then we checked the old one, and we saw that they put the city where I'm studying. Very funny, and I don't know why they do that, but it can be a disadvantage. So just make sure you check it. I don't know if when they print it, if you can tell them at the border, at the airport, that, oh, can you make this open? Some people have tried it. It's just a matter of asking. Last, whatever. So last, they will say no. I don't know. I'm not advising you that because I didn't do it. I'm not sure, but I think people have done it, but I'm not sure. Now we'll move to the closed work permit. Closed work permit just simply means a work permit that is based on an employer. It's not an open work permit. And this closed work permit is where I'm going to be spending a lot of my time today, because people have questions about this, right? Excuse me. And I'm going to give you the information. So for closed work permit, there are 3 ways to get a closed work permit. Everything hinges on something called LMIA, that's Labor Market Impact Assessment. So you need to have that LMIA, except if the job you are going to do is LMIA exempt. And I will start with that. Closed work permit, it's attached to an employer, and if your work is LMIA exempt, there are only 3 types of jobs, 3 categories of jobs that are exempt from LMIA, even though you are on employer-based permit, otherwise known as closed work permit. The first is international agreement. So if you're working, if you're a diplomat, or if you're, I think for the World Bank or things like that, IMF, it's on international agreement. You don't need an LMIA. If your job is not in any of those 3, then you need to get an LMIA. So how do we get an LMIA? That's the big question here. So the first way is to get a company that has a positive LMIA. And what does this mean? It just means that a company that has been given a go-ahead by Canada, that they've been given that go-ahead to employ people. So they gave them a positive LMIA. They gave the company a positive LMIA. This happens when there is labor shortage. If a company has labor shortage, they need people, but they don't have people in Canada, because the whole essence of LMIA is to protect the interest of Canadians and permanent residents, to be sure that their jobs are not taken by foreign workers. That's just the whole essence. So they do this by making sure that employers search Canada first. Then if they don't find a suitable applicant with that skill they need, they can apply from abroad. And they also put fees there. So they have to pay $1,000 and then $100 on top, to recruit this individual. So the essence is you really have to be worth it for them to want to go this length to recruit you. Okay, so if the company has a positive LMIA, like some trucking companies, some agricultural companies that need farm workers, people like some companies like that. And I have put a link in my description box. As I told you, SMIA Help Canada, I give you the best information, verified. So I always like to put links, right? So you can have all of these things, all the resources you need. So in that link, you see a list of companies that have positive LMIA for each year. So there is 2016, 2014, 2021. So just go and check it. And then you can target these companies. If you feel like you have that skill and you're a very desirable candidate, you can target them. Remember to revamp your CV, make it, the Canadian way, and then target them and apply. So that's one way to do it. And the second way to get an LMIA is to get your employer to sponsor you. And this is very interesting because I'm a researcher. That's what I do. And I always like to research everything. I got really interested in this LMIA thing. And I'm like, are there actual people that get employers to sponsor them? Like that they pay all these fees and bring them from abroad? Because there are very few in between. I want to be honest. This video is a very honest sit-down video. There are very few people that get employers to sponsor them. That's the truth. So I did that research and I found out that a lot of those people that came to Canada on an employer-based LMIA, wherever, were from the US. So they've studied in the US. They're working with an employer in the US. Maybe they are running out of time. Their visa status is expiring. Their HB, whatever, I don't know what that is called. That HB thing is, they are just tired, or they just want something concrete. They want to get a PR in Canada so they can, at least feel relaxed. So they apply. And because they are just next door neighbors and they already have like an equivalent Canadian experience, if you call it that, they find it easy to come in. And then the other set of people that get this are people that are in very niche areas, or people that are very skilled. So like maybe tech people that are good at tech. A lot of tech people get people to sponsor them. There was this very interesting case I heard of. The guy was a funeral director. He got them to sponsor him because they were having it difficult to find a young person that had that much skill. He had 10 years of 10 years skill in conducting funerals as a director, right? So, and he was young, and they decided to sponsor him, and they did all of that. And they were able to prove to Canada that they couldn't find someone with that skill. So you want to look at the skill you're bringing to the table. And be sure that it's competitive, whether it's competitive or it's niche, or you are good. Like if you're a coder, you are good, like you have the skills. Or you've worked in some people are working in places even back home that they are global companies. Some people are working for the big four, like maybe KPMG, Deloitte, So they are working for firms that are known abroad. And also some people are working for local companies, but they have competitive skills. So they have extensive work experience, and they are exposed, they are able to defend their work experience, and they can prove their skills, and they are incredibly good. So people like that are able to get people to sponsor them. So it's about how you because you have to make this discussion. So you want to like lay your cards on the table. Like some people actually contact them and say, oh, okay, I'm not currently working in Canada, but I'm good. Of course, you won't say I'm good, but like you imply it, and I want to work with you. Can you sponsor me? Yeah, because they are good, so they can afford to say that. So now another alternative would be to start apply, and then when they see how good you are, and then you lay your cards on the table, maybe at the last phase of the interview, maybe during the Skype meeting, and then you are like, okay, will you be able to sponsor me? I will need authorization to work in Canada. So either way, you have to let them know, because it's going to come up when they want to document. Make sure yeah, make sure you let them know. And then there are other companies that can sponsor you. They don't care. Like, they don't care if you have authorization or not. I think Google is one of them. There are so many like that, very big companies, of course. So you can target those kind of companies. So yes, that's basically all I want to say. So before I round up, I just want to say something. Guys, be careful of scammers. Don't be a victim to these people around saying they will get you a job for a work permit. Many of them are scammers. Let me tell you how to know. How to know. The first is that they won't put a specific company name. So my name is Tracy, this. They might be on LinkedIn or maybe send you an email because they know you're looking for, you know, the way Google tracks what we do, Lord have mercy. So they can always know. They target the advertisement. Google doesn't know. Google cannot, like Google ads, they can't verify if they are legit or not. So they can target you. They can target you in Google ads, and then they'll just zoom that thing as you are browsing, working, and they just zoom it. We get jobs or something like that. First, it's actually illegal for people to get jobs for people who get LMIA, or for consultants or immigration lawyers to promise to get LMIA. But they can work with you to get the LMIA. So it's a thin line. Right, so that's up to you to decide. But these agencies that say they get jobs for people, it's so painful because I see many people being scammed of millions. I don't know how people can be so heartless, but we live in a wicked world. I don't want you to lose your money. How you can confirm is by checking if they state the name of the company. So they usually go like, my name is Tracy, I work for many companies. Very generic. Some can state the name of the company, but they actually have no affiliation with the company. So if they do state the company name, check and then go and check that company, check them out, check their website, and see if the person talking is actually the HR there. If they are that big to get jobs for people on behalf of the company, their name has to be on the company website. Apparently, like very, very obvious, like blatantly. Okay, so go and check. Do your due diligence before releasing your information or paying people. And there are people that they forge documents for, and then they take this document and go and apply for a work permit with this document, and then they get banned. And the agent doesn't get banned. They even, like, they collect the money and they're able to travel or do whatever they want to do. So please, guys, always be careful with these people. Another way you can know is the conversation, the quality of the conversation. If you check the emails they send or the advertisement they post, the English is always like very bad. Some might not be that bad, but you still see common spelling mistakes like I'm happy I find you. You know, is a very minor mistake, but is a mistake. Like HR of a big company or a company should not be having typos in their advertisements. So be on the lookout for these scammers, please. And that's why the jobs are not like, LMIA it's not a very open process that people can just say they find jobs and LMIA is for thousands. It's a lie. I told you guys I did the research on it. I mean, it's soft research, not like for my PhD. So I did a research on it, and I found that just a very tiny fraction of foreign workers that have an LMIA or they are on a closed work permit. And these people, a large fraction of them are people being sponsored by very big organizations like university professors, you know, people from the US getting sponsored because they've had they have an American degree, and because they have the American experience that they can translate easily into the Canadian workforce. I won't say more than that, but I hope you guys will make the right decision. If you've enjoyed my videos so far, please comment, like. It really encourages me when you guys like my videos, when you comment, and when you subscribe. There is one more pathway that I have not talked about. You can actually get a work permit. You can get it from your visit visa. So you can come here with a visit visa. I'm not talking about spouse of students now. I'm talking about you coming on a visit visa to visit, maybe family visit or whatever. And then you can convert that to a work permit. It's a new policy. I think they started it last year. I can't remember when, but it's legal, 100%. I will be talking about it in another separate video. But for today, this is all I want to talk about. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and see you next time. Bye.